How far is Peter Parker willing to go to save his friends and allies from the grips of Kindred? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue number 52 and find out together, shall we? So then, as the comic opens up, we're reminded that Spider-Man and Kindred have been circling each other for the last 4 months, but only now are they truly coming face to gross, gooey monster face. Not a dream, not a hallucination. This one is the real deal Holyfield, though admittedly Peter is having a hard time concentrating on Kindred once he realizes that this dastardly foe has gone out of his way to dig up some of his closest friends and family, all people who died on his watch. There's Gwen Stacy and her father, Flash Thompson, Jean DeWolf, and at the head of the table, of course, Uncle Ben himself. Kindred again philosophizes and goes on a little speech about how all of this is to try and teach a lesson to Peter Parker, that his actions have consequences, and that a life spent being Spider-Man will always mean those closest to him end up dying. Again, Peter doesn't know what we the reader know, and that is that Kindred is probably almost certainly Harry Osborn, but maybe not the Harry we know, maybe another Harry. It's complicated. In a rage, Spider-Man opts to throw down with Kindred and leave the mystery of it all for another day. It's also here we actually get to see what kind of combatant Kindred is. It seems that he's able to move around fairly quickly on those centipede legs of his. And he's also inhumanly strong and durable, particularly when Spider-Man punches him through the gut and ends up going through the other side. Not only does he not stop, but well, Spider-Man just gets his arm covered in goo, meaning is Kindred even really wearing a costume right now, or is that just how he looks? Stranger still, even when Kindred does have the wall crawler dead to rights, he chooses not to go that final few inches and end his life, instead choosing to bring him to where the assembled Order of the Web are rampaging across the city. Again, if you want to know more about what's going on right here, right now, then be sure to read the .5 tie-ins to Last Remains. I admittedly have not been, but this issue I think may actually have been enough to push me over the edge to want to start. It's the scene that Peter joins in on that actually ends up cutting him pretty deep into the bone. We're on the same bridge that Gwen Stacy famously died on all those years ago. Only now, in a bit of a reversal of fortunes, it's Spider-Gwen all demoned out, ready to throw poor Miles Morales off the bridge to his death. Peter just can't stand by and let any of this happen again, and in a surprising twist, he actually starts breaking down, saying that Kindred wins and that he's not going to allow anyone else to suffer for his decisions any longer. In short, it would seem that Peter basically strikes a deal with Kindred: take the sins out of my friends, stop their rampage, and put them into me. And again, despite being such an evil villain, Kindred is oddly true to his word. He takes the sins out of the Order of the Web, setting them free before eventually turning his eyes back to Peter again. As the comic winds down, we see those weird centipede arms grab onto Spider-Man and, well, seemingly snap his neck in a fashion very similar to Gwen Stacy's death as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Amazing Spider-Man issue number 52, everyone, and overall I thought it was kind of thin, especially when it looked like we were really kicking in the turbos in this series. We get a bit of a meandering issue. Yes, it was certainly nice to see Spider-Man and his mystery foe Kindred get to meet in the flesh, but I could not help but feel like Peter didn't ask enough important questions. Yes, I know he was angry and the situation was getting to him, but still. Maybe now that they got the fighting out of the way in this issue, they can buckle down and have a real conversation where they don't reheat the same stuff over and over again. We get it. Kindred doesn't like Peter, thinks he's made bad choices, etc., etc. Also, I'm very certain the whole Spider-Man makes a deal with a personal devil thing to try and save the people around him has to be yet another very pointed reference to One More Day that Spencer is making here, and again, I hope it all has a payoff in the end. Overall, though, I could ultimately only give this one a 6 out of 10. I found it a little lacking, and I'm hoping the next issue can turn the heat back up again. Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.